Agent Mulder's latest 302, requesting assignment and travel expenses for the both of you.
Sioux City, Iowa. That's the first I've heard of it.
I already opened the cam, so I can make this sound.
Yeah. Justin fucked up by opening his Mountain Dew can before the recording started.
I'm actually not drinking Mountain Dew.
Oh, okay. Oh, Dr. Pepper Blackberry. 0 sugar. Wow, I've never tried that.
Yeah, they were cheap, so I bought a case.
Is it as good as regular Diet Dr. Pepper?
I don't think so. It's okay, but it's kind of weird.
They're trying to offload the weird soda.
Like blackberry, I guess. It's more just like vaguely fruity is kind of the flavor of this.
It's already vaguely fruity, though, like Dr. Pepper is.
That's true, yeah. But a little bit, I guess maybe it's a little less vague then. They should call this Dr. Pepper slightly less vaguely fruity. Or it's less vague, meaning it's more fruity.
More overtly fruity.
Yeah, this is all on the can. This is all the branding.
We're going to transition to just a soda review podcast where we just talk about soda for an hour.
Yeah, but we will call it Pop.
Only diet soda. Only diet soda.
Only Diet Pop.
Diet Pop. Okay, yeah, you're right. I guess I am betraying my Iowan roots by calling it soda.
Yeah, everybody's calling it soda nowadays, which is wrong. Okay, this is Rock Hard Caucus. This is our 202nd episode 202. And given the state of the world, American politics, right now, this weekend in particular, I think it's appropriate to begin with a bit of an uplifting message here. I grabbed this clip off of Rob Sand's Facebook page. I didn't have the music ready to go, sorry. Otherwise, I would be playing the Rob Sand music right now. But I have this clip from his Facebook, and I hope that, you know, given all the awful stuff going on right now, just listening to this for a few seconds will help you sort of feel better about this country that we live in.
Oh, beautiful, spacious skies for and waves of rain, for pearl mountains majesty above the fruited plains. America, America, grace on thee, and crown thy good.
Did you say thy good?
I think so.
Okay, so do you feel patriotic now? Do you like America?
I absolutely am so patriotic. I mean, Rob Sand, he's just a beautiful salve that we need to spread all over our bodies to make us calm and complacent.
Rub the sand into your skin. He's an exfoliant.
Yeah. I like how the youngest person in that video, other than Rob Sand, was the guy who was serving plates to the many older people watching and singing.
Yeah, is this an assisted living home? Like, where is he?
I figure this is the only places that Rob Sand really does speak. Like, his, like, rally or, you know, his town hall meetings are all, like, way early in the morning on, like, weekdays and stuff.
Sure. Yeah, retirees only. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that's who you got to go for. They vote.
They
I
do.
don't vote, so you shouldn't try to appeal to me.
Right.
There's no way you're going to convince me to vote.
Yeah, not for Rob Sand.
No. I swear we've played a clip almost identical to this before. He's done this before.
Well, it says in the video title, we sang America the Beautiful again.
Again.
That's so cool.
It went over so well before. Here's another really boring clip of old people singing America the Beautiful. And yeah, for those of you who are not watching the video along with us, which is everyone, Rob is just, you can sort of barely see him. He's like on the opposite end of the room from where this is being recorded. He just stands there silently. I don't think he's singing. It doesn't look like he was singing along with them. So it's just like a crowd of, now that I'm looking at it, it's like exclusively old women. I don't see any dudes there.
Yeah.
Aside from the worker. So it's just a crowd of old women singing a song to Rob Sand as he stands silently at the front of the room. And yeah, a couple of people are bringing food around to the old people. Is this appealing to someone out there?
I imagine there's some guy who just gets a little tear in his eye when he's watching this. But I don't think that guy is representative of like Iowa voters as a whole or anything. Yeah,
and we've said many times that we are also not.
No,
we're certainly in a minority. But I don't think that a video like this is like really cheesy and boring. I don't think a lot of people are going to get a lot out of this. I hope not.
Yeah, it is pretty striking how much of his stuff is just like he's actively fostering a cult of personality.
Yes. Here's a video of a bunch of people singing a song to me.
That's all there is to it. Like, oh man, I saw an interview with him the other day where he was like, they're like, well, why would you want to run for governor? That seems like a really bad time.
Yeah, was this the Prairie something podcast?
Yeah, it's apparently a some kind of organization, or I don't know if it's a company or what, but they like distribute native prairie seeds to people to like reclaim prairie land, which is cool. That's, not a bad thing to do. But yeah, they have a podcast for some reason, and they talk to Rob Sand for some reason. But anyway, that's asking him,
like, be really fun to listen to.
Oh yeah, I only saw the clip, but yeah, they're asking him why he wants to run for governor, and he's like, well, like I think not enough people are geared towards public service and like helping other people. And he was like, I feel like I needed to share my talents with, like, he immediately was like, yeah, I'm obviously like very gifted as a politician. And so like, I just needed to run to like not waste my talent, like being a attorney or auditor or whatever he does.
Yeah. Right. I mean, with great power comes great responsibility, right? Like,
I guess so.
He's clearly, he has he's a
superhero. He's Batman.
He's put a spell on a certain type of person. They love him, and so he needs to take advantage of them in order to gain power for himself and his wife's family. More power for them. Well, maybe we can contrast that with another Democrat who announced a new campaign this week. Maybe you'll find this to be a more effective message. My state senator, Zach Walls, my neighbor, not literal neighbor, but we do live in the same town, fairly close to each other, as far as I know. Not that I know your address, Zach, though I know where to find it. I'm not saying anything, but yeah, Zach Walls, my state senator, he is running against Joni Ernst next year now. And we can talk about maybe why, although Evan called that a while ago when that was not even a thought in my head. Evan knew this was going to happen somehow.
Yeah, I don't know. Got my ear to the sand, the Rob Sand.
Yeah, sand in your ear, awful.
Yeah, it's not fun.
But yeah, here's Zach's announcement video, his like first ad, and it's like a minute long. I'll pause it as we go because I have thoughts on a few things here.
I'm Zach Walls. Growing up, I was an Eagle Scout.
Okay, we're 3 seconds in. I'm an Eagle Scout. Evan, you know some people who got Eagle Scouts, I imagine, right? They attained the rank. Yeah.
Yeah, I helped with an Eagle Scout project. I was a Cub Scout very briefly. And,
I didn't make it very far.
Yeah. But I do remember going to the Indian Creek Nature Center and setting up birdhouses for someone's eagle project.
Yeah, I've known several Eagle Scouts in my life. Every Mormon I know, of course, has gone that high in the Scout tier system. But here's the thing: all the Eagle Scouts that I know, and I'm still friends with, it comes up in conversation every once in a while. You know, like just by chance, sometimes it comes up, but they don't ever lead with that, as far as I know. And the reason for that is that they are grown-ups.
Yeah. It's a thing that you do when you're like 17 years old. It's kind of like bragging about your high school accomplishments, which don't matter at all. Like, at all.
Yeah. If I run for office, the first thing I'm going to mention is my ACT score.
Yeah, right.
Which I think was a 31.
I think I said mine on that before, and it's higher than a 31. So
I think we've talked about it before. Yeah.
Which again doesn't matter at all.
No.
And it might sound a little old-fashioned, but I still live by those scouting values. Most important to me is that a scout is brave. I learned to stand up for what's right, especially.
Well, I thought the most important thing was be prepared.
Yeah, I don't. Isn't scouting about like public service and stuff?
Yeah, probably.
So I don't think it's like being brave. Yeah, I don't think it's being brave. I think it's like being like an upstanding member of your community or whatever.
Yeah, which takes bravery in this modern society where everyone is so depraved, right?
Yeah. When it's hard. That's what I've done as a state senator, and that's why I'm running for the United States Senate. I'll stand up to leaders of both parties because they're not delivering for us.
Oh, everyone has to say this, of course, right? Mm-hmm. But again, do you have any examples of standing up to both parties? I mean, you were the leader of the Iowa Senate Democrats for a period of time.
Yeah.
And so they stood up to you.
Yeah, honestly, he should be saying that. He should be saying, like, they kicked me out. Like,
right, yeah.
That would be probably more effective.
That is like if you're trying to appeal to like a broader, base of voters, which, it's a statewide election. You'll have to, certainly. I do think making, sort of highlighting that antagonism might do you well. Although I don't think that whole situation reflects well on anyone involved.
No.
Although they still remain like somewhat tight-lipped about what actually happened. But basically he fired a couple of people and the rest of the party didn't like that he did that.
Mm-hmm.
Because those people petty.
Were, I think, like very long tenured members of the party or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a sixth-generation Iowan and a new generation of Democrat.
No.
I believe in the old Democratic values of hard work and...
No. Fuck working hard. This was something that came to mind, though. Evan, do you know what generation Iowan you are? He said he's sixth generation.
I don't know, man. I think...
Yeah, I have no idea.
Like third. I mean, I don't know. I gotta say, part of my family came from Missouri, like not too long ago.
Right. Yeah. I know that I have some family in Ohio. I think they were in Ohio before they were here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, is it normal to know a lot about your lineage?
I think if you're like a white person, like middle class white person, then yeah.
Is it? Okay. Maybe I'm like, well, it might just be me in particular because I'm just so uninterested.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's totally a class thing for me, but I don't really care where my family came from. I want to know basically one thing. Did my family own slaves? That's about the only thing I want to know. And I want the answer to be no.
Yeah.
As far as I know, that it is the answer, but I've never looked into it that much.
Family, not handouts for billionaires and insiders. Standing up for workers' rights and civil rights. Like I always...
All right. He did have a quick clip of Musk and Zuckerberg there. That's cool to, these guys suck. That's a good thing to include in your political ad. A thing that I think is a little strange here. And let me play that back a few seconds. Evan, see if you notice anything over the last little bit here. I'll start with the Musk clip.
not handouts for billionaires and insiders. Standing up for workers' rights and civil rights, like I always have.
Did you notice anything kind of, I don't know, just a little weird about this?
I'm not sure what you're getting at.
Okay, so he's going through all this stuff, like all the stuff he cares about, okay? And then, it's like some old white people at a diner, a couple old white people on a farm.
Okay, I think I see what you're saying.
White baby here, and his white family. I mean, his family is white. That's fine. You got to include the family in here.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless. But then he gets to, Musk and Zuckerberg, also a couple of white guys. Workers' rights, okay. Now, when he says civil rights, oh, hey, a black guy. I mean, it's a little weird, isn't it?
And civil rights, like I always have. When I was 19...
Okay, like he always has. Well, he gets into the background here, right? But I do want to mention here that, like, in this most recent legislative session, the thing that I know that Zach did was vote for the bill that prohibits citizen review boards, citizen police review boards in cities in Iowa. And, like, I don't have a lot of faith in those boards to really do anything. Like, it's like the cops pretty much control those boards anyway when they do exist. They don't really have any teeth to accomplish much of anything. But voting to prohibit them, I don't feel like that is a benefit to the civil rights of Iowans.
No, I don't think so either.
I think that is a shameful thing that Zach voted for, that he has never, as far as I know, explained why he voted for it. Sarah Trone Garriott also voted for that and is also running for U.S. Congress now. Wait, isn't she? Am I remembering that right? She's running for Nunn's seat?
Yes, she is.
I think that's a shitty thing to vote for.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think it is, yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with what you said. But, yeah, if I had a choice between no citizen review board and a citizen review board, I think I'd rather have them.
Right, yeah. I don't think that we should have a state law prohibiting them from existing. I think that that's
right.
Pretty bad.
I defended the freedom to marry for all Iowans, including families like mine with two moms.
We're Iowans. We don't expect anyone to solve our problems for us. We'll fight our own battles. We just hope for equal and fair treatment from our government.
This is kind of how he launched his public image, his public career.
His whole thing.
Yeah. And like, it was important that he gave that speech defending his moms, and got him a lot of attention when he was very young. It is very funny, like, that clip contrasted with his current image in this, like, this announcement video. The way he talks is so different.
Yeah.
He sounds a lot more normal now. I'll give you that, Zach.
Yeah. And he's bearded up. He's heavily bearded up. We'll get into that.
The beard helps. Yeah.
It does.
That's not what we're getting right now. Our leaders have failed us, and we are the ones paying the price.
Well, we all are going to die.
This is almost all you need to run against Joni Ernst right now, is just keep hammering on that clip. I'm so glad she said that, because we're going to get to hear it a million times over the next couple of years. In fact, why don't I play it for you right now?
Well, we all are going to die.
Yeah, just get that in there another couple times.
Well, we all are going to die.
It's perfect. It's such a perfect senator audio clip. What a great thing for a senator to say.
When Joni Ernst was elected, she said,
"Let's make them squeal."
But Joni broke her promise to us.
We need a new senator, one with the courage to fight for all our families.
Whoa.
Were you surprised? But
I was. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but I also I want to go back.
That was his wife speaking, everybody.
Joni Ernst lied. She didn't make anyone squeal. Nobody was squealing.
Right. Yeah, she did not fulfill her promise to make them squeal. I do think it's smart to include the "we're all going to die" clip, of course. I don't know if calling back to the "make them squeal" ad is good, because that ad won her the election.
Yeah.
I think. Like, it's a very popular ad. The people go crazy for political ads talking about cutting off pigs' nuts. We love it. And if you remind us that she did that, well, we might be inclined to go back to her just for the hopes that she'll talk about, chopping the vas deferens or whatever, however you castrate hogs.
Anatomy lessons here. Wow.
They probably have some awful device that just
oh my god, yeah.
Them,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's
hog nut guillotine.
And she was bragging about having done that in that ad. That's wow, brutal. She's awesome. She tortures animals. We love it.
We need a senator for us.
I'll be that senator. Scout's honor.
Okay, and then he calls back to the Scouts thing. Is that a good theme for a political campaign for a 33-year-old man? I'm still a Boy Scout. I'm oh well, there is a Superman movie coming out this summer, and that's sort of they call him a Boy Scout, sort of, but it's sort of derisive sometimes. Oh, you're just a little Boy Scout.
Yeah. He's the most goody two-shoes superhero.
Yeah. And I think that's how Zach wants to be seen. He's a good boy. What do you think of the logo? I have the logo up on the screen now.
I mean, it's pretty unremarkable. The colors, as you've pointed out, are it seems very in line with the Rob Sand campaign. We can't refer to red or blue, but we can refer to better and true.
We love orange and green. I don't know, some consultant out there chose these colors. They chose them for Rob, and then whoever Zach has designing his stuff was well, let's change the hue just a little bit. Same basic color scheme, but change the percentages just slightly. Still green and orange, though.
And then the exclamation point is also interesting with the little the Iowa being the dot.
Oh shit! I didn't even see that.
It's very tiny. That's why it's pretty easy to miss. But I don't know. It does also give Jeb a little bit, which is
exclamation points are dangerous now. Yeah,
dangerous.
Walls for us. Oh no, it's supposed to be U.S. Senate, right? There's some ambiguity. Is that supposed to be fun?
I think it's intentional. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's for us, but also for U.S. Senate.
Did he? Okay, so the dog is in there. Rob Sand also loves to talk about his dog, Pow. But he gives us the wife and the kids' names, Chloe and Eli. I don't think he ever told us the dog's name.
Oh my god, his dog has a fucking Instagram page.
It does?
It has an Instagram page. Okay, so I was Googling his wife, who is apparently worked for Vice. She's a journalist. I did not know this. I don't know that much about Zach Walls.
I don't know a lot about her either. And I'd never heard her voice before, so when she came up in the ad and she had the accent, it surprised me.
Yeah. I guess she wrote a book about ballet, which is cool. Actually, I just went to a Des Moines ballet performance. It was pretty good.
Where was that?
It was at Lordson Amphitheater, of course, at Waterworks Park.
I've heard that name before.
Yeah. They kind of were thinking, there's a lot of money that they got from the Lordson family that they were kind of happy to talk about.
Yep. That money goes around, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So the dog has an Instagram. I don't like that.
And it's Zelda, by the way. I don't know if we mentioned that. It's also
Zelda's the dog. Okay.
Yeah. Which, I don't know. Trying to win over the Nintendo kids. It should be named I don't know. What's the Sonic character?
If they should name the dog Miles.
Yeah. Maybe. I can't think of Sonic characters.
God, is there a dog in Sonic? There's a dog in the comic that Tony and I are reading. A dog who betrayed them. And his name is... I can't even remember. Oh, well, Mutsky. Mutsky is Sonic's dog. That would be a good name for a real dog. Mutsky. Okay, we shouldn't get too distracted by this.
Yeah.
All right, so when I was saying, Zach is a good boy, I was kind of hinting at this next thing we're going to talk about. There's an article in the New York Times that came out, I think the day before Zach announced. This kind of like preempted his big announcement, kind of stole a bit of his thunder. But maybe he's not such a good boy, is what comes out in this article. This is by Reed J. Epstein in the New York Times. The headline is Younger Democratic Candidates Bring New Energy, but also New Risks. And the whole kind of like story here is this guy, Reed Epstein, is talking about how a lot of young people are running for office in Iowa. But he's referring, like, okay, Zach's pretty young. He's like about my age, 33. Like, I wouldn't say I'm...
I was going to say, he might be the first politician that we've talked about who's actually younger than both of us.
Yeah.
At least running for
level, certainly.
Yeah. At least running for like national office, you know.
Yeah. There are state reps who are younger than us who we have belittled for being children a few times. But then the other people he mentions in the article are like 40 and 50. And it's like, okay, well, they're just because we're not like, they're not Chuck Grassley ancient doesn't mean there's like some big like wellspring of, you know, kids pushing for a new era of American politics.
Yeah. Just because they're lower than the average age of a Democratic representative.
The average age being, you know, 78.
60. Like 65 or something.
Okay, I should read from the article a little bit instead of just talking shit before I've told anyone what's in it. While Democrats across the country are engaged in a debate about how old is too old, in Iowa there is a novel movement to actually have younger people run for office. And he uses this word movement a couple times as well. Where is this movement? Who's involved? Who's been organizing a movement to have younger people run for office? I've missed this.
Rita Hart.
Yeah. I'm unfamiliar. You know, my friend Oliver, he's a couple years younger than us. He ran for office. The Democrats seemed pretty upset about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. With candidates in their 30s and 40s running for governor, Senate, and the House, Iowa Democrats are set to turn their red state into a laboratory for whether younger candidates can appeal to voters who have abandoned the party during the Trump era. If this is the framing here, I would caution people, don't think too much of whatever results come of this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Rob Sand and Zach Walz losing their elections next year means, well, I guess we just got to run older people.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a good test case for this.
People like putting, like, that's a big thing in Democratic circles, is just calling everything a movement. Like, abundance, that's a movement. That's not something that was like completely made up out of whole cloth. Like, that wasn't a completely like top down like
just a rebranding of the same politics as
supply
always.
Side economics, but liberal.
Right. Iowa's youth movement has also exposed some of the risks when younger candidates seek big offices. Again, there's no movement. Like this, I don't think a movement recruited Zach Walz to run for Senate. I think that he has higher ambitions and he's pursuing them as a guy, as an individual.
Yeah.
Well, and I also, we talked about this a second ago, but I think has sort of, he's not the golden boy of the Iowa Democratic Party anymore. He wronged them. They don't really get along like they used to. So I think he is seeking a place above them outside of their, you know, small sphere of influence. I think that's why he's going for this higher step now.
Yeah. I mean, if he is going to have any chance of winning, I mean, I think the timing makes sense for him to run right now. But yeah, I think I agree with your assessment that it's pretty unlikely. I don't know.
Yeah.
Joni Ernst, though, I mean, that fucking clip sure is
it's pretty bad.
gonna make it a little more interesting, at least.
Yeah, and he didn't announce until that big awful moment happened. So, you know, he sees an opening. We should also mention J.D. Scholten is running for that same seat. I do think it's interesting. Zach Walz and J.D. Scholten are running against each other in a primary. I would have thought that they would have more coordination, maybe not want to compete with each other like that. But I don't fucking know the guys. So, well, I kind of do know Zach, but we're not friends. we've just been in the same room a few times. And here's a quick diversion. We should also not forget Nathan Sage, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's also running for that same Senate seat. Here's a clip of him recently that he posted online.
This whole Marines being deployed to LA to deal with protesters. It's fucking insane. I don't care who...
Oh, he said fuck, maybe. It was censored.
You gotta uncensor the fucks, man.
Farmers fucked over.
Like, who cares?
Well, fuck is a bad word.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe the people singing America the Beautiful might have a problem with it, but like...
Yeah.
Who cares?
That is insane. Why? Marines are devil dogs. Marines are badasses. We are the guys that come in, we get the mission done, we destroy things, and we get on out of there. And we do not police, we do not take care of protesters. And you're putting up this fighting force made to destroy against protesters who are literally just trying to keep their fucking families in America.
Fucking families. Man, this guy he's a special one. I mean, I agree with the general message there. Like, hey, could we not send the military to fucking kill a bunch of unarmed people who are protesting ICE raids?
I also appreciate that he's saying anything about it.
Totally. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, don't know a lot about the guy. We'll see. It'll be interesting with the three of them. All kind of fighting for, I don't know. I don't think there's that much separating them.
Yeah.
Like, politically.
Yeah, Nathan is definitely presenting himself differently. I still, like, if it weren't for his awful immigration thing on his campaign platform, I would maybe be more interested in him, but nah, I don't like that. But yeah, the rest of that video where he keeps saying we, because I guess, he was a Marine. Like, well, you're not anymore. And you're criticizing the use of the military against protesters while also bragging about how awesome Marines are. Mm-hmm. I am one, by the way. We're fucking awesome.
Yeah, we're devil dogs. We're badasses.
That's not even exaggeration. That's a quote. Like, come on, man. Look, if they deployed me out there, I'd be fucking shooting people's heads off left and right. But that's wrong to do. It's fucking insane.
It's also funny. I mean, it is kind of true, but he's like, yeah, Marines, they don't know how to exercise restraint at all. Like,
yeah. Nathan, you know that's not good, right? Like, that doesn't sound like you have a lot of stability. Like, it doesn't seem like a great thing to be bragging about. Okay, back to Zach Walz and the risks of teenagers running for office. Oh wait, he's 33. Okay, maybe like a young, but not like. Come on.
Yeah.
This weekend, as Zach Walz, a 33-year-old state senator, planned to launch his Senate campaign, some Democratic operatives in Iowa circulated an old message board in which Mr. Walz, at age 19, had opined about his pornography preferences and volunteered that his parents had given him a subscription to Playboy magazine when he was 16. Okay, so Democratic operatives had circulated this. I don't know where it was circulated. I didn't see it before it was mentioned here in the New York Times. I don't know who the operatives are. But that's very funny. That's a funny thing for them to do. We can't nominate this guy. He posted on Reddit 15 years ago. Well, valid. I mean, I don't want a Redditor in office, certainly.
Right.
I didn't really look at this. By the way, the old message board that this New York Times guy is talking about is fucking Reddit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not an old message board. It's Reddit.
I looked him up on Reddit, and he still posts on Reddit regularly.
The same account that they link to here?
Under his own name. Which, it's kind of brave. He's a gamer, too.
Well, he's brave because he's an Eagle Scout.
True. True. He's playing, some game called Control, which I don't
Control.
Know anything about.
That's a Remedy game, right? The Max Payne studio?
I mean, I love Max Payne, but I wouldn't know that. I know
think
they did
that
Alan Wake.
Yeah, I think that Control is one of theirs. I haven't played it. But Max Payne is awesome.
Yeah, he's a gamer. He's still posting on Reddit. So take what you will from that.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so a few things about this. I think it's very funny that he did a Reddit AMA when he was 19 because of the speech he gave at the Iowa State House supporting gay marriage. Really, that's all you got to do to get an AMA on Reddit in 2011, huh? One speech in a state legislature?
I think it was kind of a big deal. Also, I think like
it was,
a lot of people were like,
what do you have to ask him?
There's some, well, I mean, people are curious about a straight man who has two moms.
I guess you're right. I guess that was fairly like novel.
And I do think that's where like he was asked specifically like a bunch about like his own sexuality in that. Mm-hmm. And like, I think
which
that's
is why
where
he talked about porn.
The porn thing came up. So like, yeah, that's at least a little bit of the context for it.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So some of the stuff he said about porn is quoted here. I didn't actually look at the Reddit AMA, but it is still up and it's linked in the article. So, maybe there's more. Maybe there's something a little bit more controversial than this. Yeah?
I looked through it a little bit and I didn't find anything too interesting.
Okay. Well, the Democratic operatives are going to have to work a little harder.
Oh, he did say he liked Ezra Klein. He said he read
in 2011?
In 2011, yes. He said that he was into Ezra Klein. Yep.
Ugh. Yeah, I mean, the Democratic operatives wouldn't have flagged that, but that's a red flag to me. Okay, so here's the quote about porn. Somebody asked him about his pornography preferences. And he says, I don't have any favorite actresses or anything. I've got a things for tall brunettes. I don't know if that's a mistake by the New York Times or if that was actually on Reddit. I've got a things for tall brunettes. Was all about the Asians when I was younger, but seem to have moved on.
So, like I said, there's some context there, but then saying that I was into Asians and then moved on, like he matured out of.
No.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty strange thing to say.
When I was I can't remember the quote, but when I was a child, I was interested in childish things.
Yeah,
like Asian women. Ugh.
This fucking Rivers Cuomo over here.
And so they asked him about this, the New York Times. And he said, I think it's a little funny that some folks are worried about Democrats' ability to connect with American men, while others think that old Reddit posts by me as a college kid talking about Playboy and porn like a normal guy would do would scare me off from running.
Yep, I know all them normal guys posting about under their own name, posting about their porn preferences. Like that's normal male thing to do. Also, all the guys, they just talk about porn all the time. That's like if you see a group of men talking, that's like the Bechdel test for men. It's like a conversation between two men that is not about porn.
Yeah. Evan and I keep it professional when the mics are on, but as soon as we stop recording, we're like, hey, what did you jack off to this morning before we started recording? And what are you watching now? I mean, I've got a second monitor over here playing porn, obviously, because I'm a normal guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think you're protesting a little too much there, Zach, by calling yourself a normal guy. Most people were not taking the opportunity to do Reddit AMAs to talk about what they liked in porn at age 19.
Yeah. I mean, it's normal to be watching porn at age 19.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. There's also been some swerfy stuff in the culture lately that probably needs to be pushed back on. But yeah, it's a little, I agree with protesting too much.
Yeah. And look, I don't think that what he said is like so crazy, but it's,
no.
Yeah, it's a little goofy, but it's weird. Like...
It probably won't matter at all, like, in the election.
Them circulating this like it's like campaign-killing opposition research is like, well, is this all you got? Like,
yeah. There's some funny reactions on the internet, too. Like, I found this Amanda Littman, co-founder and president of runforsomething.net. Democratic operatives thinking 19-year-old boy posted about porn in a Reddit AMA is a scandal or disqualifying, instead of authenticity in action and a way to connect with young men by being a normal person, is part of our party's problem.
Okay, so that's the message they're going with.
Yeah.
This is normal.
We're just normal men.
We need to, like, you know how, like, Obama did, like, his music list? We need, like, Democratic politicians to start posting, like, their favorite scenes.
Yeah. The Joe Biden AVN selections.
Oh my God. What a thought.
But yeah, do you think the beard is part of this also? Like, this is him connecting with the normal American man?
Yeah, I mean that is like, we talked about his tweet about, the number 5 or 5 best things about being a man.
God, so that was before he announced too. That was like leading up to this. Yeah.
I think he's leaning into a little bit.
Poker with the
guy's
boys.
Guy. Yeah. Hanging with the fellas.
Speaking of like whether he's young or not, one of the things that I picked up on real quick in his announcement video is he's got a little bit of gray in his beard too. So he's showing some maturity with that, but then he's like, I'm an Eagle Scout. Him and Rob both kind of have this thing where it's like this like boy man dichotomy thing. Like,
yeah,
sometimes I want you to think I'm just a good boy. Other times I want you to think I'm like a stoic, responsible man.
A man of faith. Actually, I don't know. Zach Wallace didn't really say anything about his faith. I
don't think that he is religious, so good on him for not pretending he is. Yeah. Unless I've missed something. Oh yeah, I do think though we shouldn't completely dismiss this part that his parents got him a Playboy subscription at age 16. I don't think that's good necessarily.
Yeah.
Although
it's interesting. Yeah, I can understand maybe like the thought process.
Yeah, I can see like a rational basis for that where like, well, this shit on the internet is like sort of completely unleashed and like you can see like the worst, most fucked up things ever. Mm-hmm. But Playboy is pretty tame. What if we point him in this direction?
Yeah, I'm sure that's probably what they were thinking.
Yeah. I don't know.
But at age 16 is probably going to be seeking out that kind of stuff anyway.
Right, yeah. That's probably technically illegal, right?
To give... Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that.
Playboy's adults only, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think...
Distributing obscene materials to minors.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe something you shouldn't have posted about on Reddit. I don't know. Is there anything else in this article we should talk about? I just think it's funny that they're like, there's this movement of young people, and then we've got Rob Sand, age 42, Sarah Trone Garriott, age 47, Jennifer Confirst, age 51, J.D. Schulten, 45, Nathan Sage, 40, Jackie Norris, 54. Like, I'm sorry.
Like, a bunch of middle-aged people. Like
they're not elderly, but like they're not that young.
Yeah.
Like if your whole like thesis of the article is, wow, look at all these kids in Iowa trying to change the game. Like, I don't think 51 qualifies.
I did see that J.D. Schulten is reviving his minor league baseball career and is actually a pitcher on like some Sioux Falls minor league team at age 45, which,
nice.
Yeah, more power to him.
Eastbound and down.
Yeah. That's a young guy thing to do. Play baseball for a living. Squeaking out a...
Keeps you young.
I can't imagine he gets paid much, but you get
I don't think he gets paid much by the state legislature either. He's like me. He's got a lot of small gigs that make ends meet.
I also think
that
the baseball thing is like his way of like getting out there. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of, he'll probably be in a lot of small towns in Iowa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it might help his political ambitions.
It helps, yeah. He's got to do these town halls around the state, so might as well pitch a few while I'm here.
Yeah.
It's efficient, yeah. The end of this is pretty funny. Senator Chuck Grassley, a Republican, is 91 years old and in his 8th term. He was first elected to the State House in 1958. That's almost 70 years ago, for those keeping track. His grandson is now the chamber's speaker. Terry Branstad won 6 elections as governor before President Trump made him ambassador to China in 2017 at age 71. And Tom Miller, a Democrat who served 10 terms as Attorney General before he was given the bird, was on a statewide ballot for every election from 1974 to 2022.
Impressive.
So the point being, we love to elect the same guys for a century straight. And then they end with a beautiful quote from Tom Miller, former state attorney general. Iowans have always been good to older candidates, Mr. Miller, now 80, said in an interview. When I was young, that wasn't such a good thing. When I was older, that was a great thing.
Okay.
Except for this last election, which, if you were your oldest in your last election, and that's the one you lost. So maybe there is like a point where that crosses over. That hasn't happened for Chuck Grassley, though. Again, 91 years old. Still in office. Oh, man, I forgot. There's part of this article that compares Zach's old Reddit posts being dug up to what happened with Mark Robinson in North Carolina.
Yeah, that was so weird. That's
like,
not even remotely the same.
No, that's that's the guy who had an account on a porn website called Nude Africa and was posting about like being a Nazi.
Yeah. Let's cut Zach Walls a little bit of a break here.
And it's actually around the same time. This was like a 2010, 2011 era thing. Like, yeah, Zach's posts are, when you compare it to that, certainly like a normal guy would do.
Right.
You know?
Well, he's also like 19. Like, I mean.
Yeah.
And he also, one of the interesting things I saw in the thing was people were asking him, like, do you have ambitions to like get involved in politics? And he's like, I'm like interested in politics, but like, I don't really want to put my like, like my personal life out there like that, like pretty reasonable, reason to not want to get involved in politics. So
yeah,
it's not like he was like, I mean, we've talked about like he's, Democrat wonderkind, but like, I don't think he necessarily was like planning to be he wasn't like one of those like briefcase to school, kind of kids.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he was.
I think that some people around here knew him at that age and might disagree with you a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know him at the time, so I can't speak to that really, but I didn't really meet him until the 2016 election where he was a strong Hillary Clinton supporter.
Yeah.
And looked like a real nerd to me at the county and district conventions. Also, it is funny to be like, I don't want my personal life out there, but here's what makes me hard.
Right. Right. Yeah. Good points.
Let's see. What else should we talk about? Should we keep going with the sand thing?
Sure. Why not?
We should talk about this a little bit. So you're not supposed to water your lawn right now, right, Evan?
Yeah, you're supposed to conserve water if you live in the Des Moines metro.
Okay, and that's the big problem for you because I know that you like to run the sprinkler all day and night, right?
I'm all about watering plants that are going to get watered by the rain anyway.
Oh yeah, I love just like making my yard just a big old pit of mud. That's
yeah. If my grass isn't like the perfect shade of green, then I get so pissed off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got to be like a regulation height. I measure. Mm-hmm. I go out there with a little ruler and make sure my grass isn't too tall or too short. And then I have like a paint swatch that's the correct shade of green that I hold up to the yard. I'm like, oh, we're a little light over here, and then I dump about 4 or 5 gallons straight onto the ground.
And if I see a single weed, then that shit is the entire yard is getting treated with Roundup, glycophosphate everywhere.
It just goes right, like I can see the runoff going down the street into the storm drain, and it's glowing. Like my street is like fully lit up at night because of all the chemical runoff that's running down the street. But anyway, yeah, there's too much nitrate in the rivers over there. The Raccoon River, the Des Moines River, they're near even after treatment at the waterworks plant, they're nearly at the level of 10 milliliters per something. God, I almost had all the science memorized.
10 milligrams per liter.
10 milligrams
is
per
the
liter.
federal limit.
Right. And then at that point, it's like unsafe to drink.
It's unsafe for pregnant women and like infants in particular, because it can lead to like blue baby syndrome, where basically your blood, it interferes with your ability of your blood to carry oxygen.
Yeah. You never want to see
kind of
a
scary
blue baby. Yeah, they're not supposed to be blue.
No,
ever.
you don't. No.
Yeah. So right now, like it's at
pretty fucked up.
9 point something, right?
Yeah, it was like 9 last I saw.
Okay. And that's probably totally safe, right?
Yeah, it's probably good. It's probably fine.
Yeah, and things that are bad for a pregnant woman or a young child to consume, probably totally fine for an adult man to consume, right?
Yeah, I mean, I drink a lot of tap water, I gotta say.
We have a Brita filter, so some of that's probably getting filtered out here, but
nope,
it's still tap water.
I guess reverse osmosis works, and I guess, I don't know, those are cheaper than I thought they are. I think it's like $500 or something for like an under sink reverse osmosis filter. So I'm considering that.
Wait, okay, so you're saying that the Brita filter does not get any of the nitrates?
The Brita filter
out?
does not. And also, boiling water actually concentrates the nitrates more. So, like, you're kind of, there's not really much you can do about it.
Right. So this is a bad situation that Des Moines is in right now.
It's not great.
You're trying to conserve water so that there's some left to drink and clean your body with. So don't dump it on the lawn right now.
Well, it's like that they can only treat so much of it. So if we use too much, then they can't treat all of it to the level that they need.
And this has come up before on our podcast. We've talked to Chris Jones a couple times. This is kind of like something that he's been raising the flag about for years, but to no avail with our lawmakers in this state. But I'm reading from the Des Moines Register here. Kate Keeley's piece, Nitrates in Iowa's Water Near Record Levels. And it asks, why are nitrate levels so high in the Raccoon River? Well,
yeah, that's a good question. That a lot of media outlets are dodging very hard. And also, sorry, go ahead with the article.
Well, the Des Moines Register says increasing commercial fertilizer and manure application from farming has been a source of increased nitrate levels in Iowa's water sources.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is like last year, maybe the year before, there was another similar thing. I don't know if it was as bad, but they were also telling people to consider not watering their lawn.
Yeah.
And it was, the reasoning was like there was a drought for several years, and then there was a bunch of rain, and that contributed to like more runoff than in the past. And like that is not happening this year. We've had plenty of rain. And so like, where is it coming from? Well, it seems like maybe some farmers are over applying fertilizer and manure. Like it seems like the only explanation, but like we're not directly, it seems like no one wants to directly address that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do think that Kate Keeley at the Des Moines Register did a fairly good job writing about this, in part because she interviewed Chris Jones about it, it seems. She quotes him here. He said, over the long haul, we over-apply nitrogen to our crops, and that surplus has got to go somewhere. It doesn't go off into the Milky Way. It goes into our aquifers, the rivers, and our atmosphere. I wasn't aware that this affected Milky Way like the candies. So, well, he says that the runoff does not go into those, so those should be safe. So don't drink the water. Milky Ways are okay.
Yep.
And I don't think that is really a good replacement for water, so that's probably not going to solve the problem. You could try washing your body with Milky Way candy bars.
You could.
I might try that instead of a water shower tomorrow. See how it goes. We're under a boil advisory for Milky Way. Boil those Milky Ways before you consume them. I love it hot and bubbly. My Milky Way. Fertilizer use has increased by a factor of 10 since World War II, according to Chris. And some consider the amount used to be more than what can be taken in by crops. I think that's I think that it all going into the water is like one piece of evidence that maybe we're using more than can even be like beneficial to the crops, right? Like if it's going into the water, you know, it didn't do anything to the crop. If it becomes runoff, it wasn't used by
it wasn't
the plant.
absorbed. Yeah, true.
So maybe you're using too much. Well, okay. So what's the problem? The problem is that we're like our political leaders are not willing to get on the bad side of the people doing this, the agricultural industry in the state, who has all the money. Basically, our economy is completely reliant on that, and they, you know, the politicians, of course, are reliant on the people who have all the money supporting their campaigns and keeping them in power. You know.
Yeah, I mean, there's been like campaigns for them to voluntarily reduce the amount of nitrates or, you know, nitrogen that they're applying to the fields. But yeah, it seems like we might need, you know, an actual like mechanism for enforcement, some kind of, you know, regulation to prevent them from doing that. Maybe some kind of penalties for
law
doing that
could be enforced in some way.
Yeah, for
rather than
endangering
just
public
asking them.
health.
Right.
Like literal babies in the hospital, like
cancer rate increasing.
Yeah.
It's not been good. The industry is poisoning the people here. And I think that something a little more aggressive than asking them to stop might be warranted.
Might be.
So with that thought, maybe we should talk about this piece from Todd Dorman at the Cedar Rapids Gazette, who talked to our favorite guy, gubernatorial candidate Rob Sand. Todd's piece in the Gazette is titled "Sand Sticks Up for Exira." I didn't look up how to say the name of this small town, Exira, but isn't ready to talk about ag pollution. So this town, Exira, is having, or has been having, problems with its water supply for, years?
Yeah, I think it's another thing because of like consequences of the drought where they don't have enough water.
Yes. Yeah, it says here, Exira was among several communities served by the Regional Water Association who were directed to boil water before use. The town has been under level yellow water use rules since 2023 due to drought conditions. So don't use the water for gardening, washing cars, or filling swimming pools. 3 of my favorite things to use water for. You never want your water to be level yellow.
You don't. You do not. You don't want it to be yellow at all.
That's pee.
Or Mountain Dew.
That's sure.
It's yellow.
It's more of a green.
It's yellow.
Though.
I think it's more
green.
yellow. If you take it out of the bottle, it's definitely more yellow than green. They tint the bottles green to make you think it's green,
to
but
make
it's
it
actually
seem more
yellow.
green.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's that there is yellow dye in it.
There is.
Yeah.
Number 5.
So anyway, yeah, the Exira has yellow water. They're supposed to boil it before they drink it. So Todd Dorman at the Gazette, who writes a lot of opinion pieces, he was at a Rob Sand town hall in Exira, where the issue of the water quality was a major concern, of course. Todd says that the Sand campaign gave him 10 minutes to talk with him. And Todd wanted to know whether Sand has a vision for the state's biggest, most stubborn water quality issue. Maybe you've heard fertilizer runoff from cropland and livestock waste are contaminating streams, rivers, and lakes. What does Sand think? And he quotes from Rob Sand here. You can define a problem 2 ways. One is whether or not it impacts many people. The other is the measure of the impact on a person. Sand said to my question about his vision for cleaning up Iowa's water. So far, that does not come across as an answer to the question.
He's just filibustering.
Webster's Dictionary defines a problem as when things aren't going so good. Okay, he continues, and if you live in the Regional Rural Water Association area and you literally have your tap run dry, or you have to boil all the water that you use, I'd say that's a big problem. And that's why we were out in that area yesterday. Yeah. Oh, wait, I guess this is post-Exira. Anyway, and I think that we should have more attention to that issue because literally it is such a perfect example of the fact that in Des Moines, they've been really focused on special interest groups and doing what insiders want.
Just gibberish.
Yeah, so he's trying to frame this as this is a rural community being ignored by the big city, which is, of course, a big thing he always comes back to. And it seems like it's something he can come back to when he doesn't really want to address the subject at hand. You know, just sort of like, oh, rural versus urban. I can hit that hammer again. Obviously, Sand wanted to stick to the subject of Exira. I certainly wasn't trying to ignore local drinking water issues there and elsewhere. But I wanted to know, when it comes to agricultural pollution, does Sand think we should stick with our faith-based system, hoping more farmers will voluntarily take action? Or does he think regulations are needed? You know, laws. The voluntary system isn't making meaningful progress in cleaning up our water. Just ask the puny shrimp in the Gulf of Mexico. The dead zone starts here in Iowa. I want to give, props to Todd here for, I wouldn't, when I've read his stuff before, I wouldn't think of him as like a really, I don't know, aggressive journalist.
Antagonistic.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a liberal columnist. Like these are people that should be, helping Rob Sand. Like if Rob Sand was even capable of addressing anything like on a actual like issues level. Like, before I forget, that New York Times article, I do want to make sure I mention this here. Again, this is back to the New York Times article about Zach Wall's Reddit post. Mr. Sand, the state auditor, has carefully curated an image of himself as a bipartisan figure in the state. While Mr. Walls was an enthusiastic surrogate for Senator Elizabeth Warren in Iowa's 2020 presidential caucuses, as I remember very well, Mr. Sand, who won his office in 2018, declined to endorse any 2020 candidate. Coward. And though Mr. Sand has long made frequent appearances in the national news media, he declined through a spokeswoman to be interviewed for this article because it involved other young Iowa Democrats. I remember that because you said, like, liberal columnists should be on Rob Sand's side, but he doesn't fucking want them to be. Pretty clearly. I mean,
like, he's doing everything he can to alienate, like, the people who like him the most.
Yeah, it's insane. I can't believe. I'm shocked at how bad his campaign has been. Like, even just with absolutely low expectations. Like, it's insane. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Okay, so Todd Dorman of the Gazette, he asks Sand, do you think laws are needed here to save the water here in Iowa? And Rob said, oh, look, we're going to be rolling out policy on many issues throughout the course of 18 months. Okay, can you start with like one now, maybe?
You just announced you're running for governor. And you have, like, it's not like you're ignorant on this subject.
Yeah. I'm going to check his website right now. This is live. Nope. No issues page. No platform.
Absolutely nothing on there.
We're going to be rolling out policy on many issues throughout the course of 18 months. Well, you are now 1 month in, and so far you have none. But if I'm in Exira, if I'm in Brighton, and when we're talking about water, and then revert it into the same debate that we've been having for the last 15 years, then we're missing the fact that our state government at this point is so unresponsive to people that there are literally Iowans who have had these restrictions in place for years who are getting nothing out of their state government. Right?
Not the question.
I'm skipping a bit here. I'm anxious. This is Todd. I'm anxious to know if Sand will be like so many Democratic candidates before him who shrugged at the problem because of the risk of ticking off farmers. So I tried one more time to ask about voluntary versus laws. Yeah, I mean, that's not the issue in Exira right now, Sand said. So, 3 strikes and I was out after 7 minutes.
Yeah. He said he got 10 minutes to talk with him, and then after 7 minutes, he's just like, all right, fuck it. Obviously, he's not going to answer my questions. I'm done.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to trap Sand with gotcha questions. That's a funny pun right there. Trying to trap Sand, like a sand trap. That's a good golf joke for the Gazette readers.
Oh yeah,
Todd he's a clever punsmith for sure.
Speaking of irresponsible uses of water,
yeah. He is the top contender at this point for the Democratic nomination and could become governor. His administration would shape our water quality policy for 4 years and maybe more. Sand is running as a pragmatic centrist who can attract voters of all stripes to his campaign. It could be a smart strategy in a state where a Democrat hasn't been elected governor in 20 years. Oh, fuck, that's right. Culver was when we were in high school.
Chet Culver, yeah.
Yeah. I fear he's more likely to stick to the status quo than ruffle farmer feathers. And I wonder why, Todd. I will, let's see. No mention of the Lauridsen name here in Todd Dorman's article. So that's one line he maybe hasn't crossed yet. But it is nice to see him be a little, like he seems like, upset in that piece where
it's pretty
tried
upsetting.
To ask, yeah.
I mean, there's 600,000, like the water conservation order in the Des Moines Waterworks is like affecting like 600,000 customers, houses. Which is like a pretty big deal. And like I said, like if things continue to get worse, like it's going to end with people in the hospital, like pregnant women and fucking children. Like
there are some pregnant women and a lot of children in Des Moines, right?
Yeah.
I haven't been there in a few months, but
and he hasn't said shit about it.
Yeah, well,
he hasn't said shit about it.
Again, a big part of his campaign messaging is like, well, the big city is always ignoring these small towns. So we need to pay attention to these small towns and not care so much about big city Des Moines. But to your point, that's where the people live. That's where there's people. There's people in the small towns and the rural communities as well. But again, I can use Sand's own words against him. When we're defining a problem, we got to think about how many people are affected by this problem. Well, more people are affected by problems in the cities than in the small towns and rural communities because there are more people who live in urban areas. But a lot of people are affected by the water quality in Des Moines, far more than are affected by the water quality in Exira, which is not to say that those people don't matter, but there are fewer of them.
I did see shortly after this article was posted that Rob Sand did post about E. coli contamination in certain lakes, which he posted like an article that did not talk about like where that E. coli might have come from. I mean,
it's from the geese. It's from geese pooping.
It's from the geese.
That's one thing that the ag industry always deflects to is like, well, there's natural sources of E. coli and nitrates.
There's poop everywhere. There's poop everywhere.
It's not just the poop that we're putting there on purpose. Some of those animals are pooping on their own. We can't control all the animals and their poop. Oh boy, we've gone over an hour already. There's a lot of stuff we did not touch on. Let me just say, Governor Kim Reynolds tweeted on June 12th, Iowa is praying for Israel, and then Israeli flag emoji. Same night, Senator Joni Ernst also tweeted, join me in praying for Israel. So I hope that you all out there, all of you Iowa residents, are aware that we are collectively all praying for Israel as they... Well, what are we praying for exactly? Why are we praying for them? What's going on over there?
I wouldn't say I'm praying for Israel. I'm praying for certain things for Israel.
Yeah.
But
like what is this impulse? Like they
this
launched
is also
a bunch of
this is before any retaliatory attacks by Iran. This is like, Israel is just like, doing war crimes.
Yeah, just an immediate response to Israel being the aggressor. Is like, we pray for them. Pray for them for what they're about to unleash on the world. Like, no, what they're doing is bad. I don't think that we should pray for them to keep doing this. Or like oh God, please protect them as they lash out and try to, potentially start a nuclear conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Israel sucks, man. They're gonna take us all down. Okay, let's end with something more fun than that, because that was a downer.
Yeah.
Here, a new ad from the other important gubernatorial candidate, Randy Feenstra. Brand new ad. This just came out on his YouTube the other day.
What do President Trump and Randy Feenstra have in common? Both stand tall for us, and both want big things for Iowa's future. That's why Feenstra backed Trump's big, beautiful bill.
Do people talk like that around here?
Delivering tax cuts for families, higher wages for Iowa workers, and blocking Medicaid for every illegal immigrant Biden let cross our border. Iowa needs a Team Trump fighter to keep our economy growing. Randy Feenstra is rising to the challenge, and nobody else measures up. Randy Feenstra for governor.
He's really going with that.
He's
I'm
tall, folks.
Thing. Yeah.
He's tall. He's tall. Donald Trump, also tall.
I guess he is. I guess he is pretty tall, right? So that's like as much as I hate the messaging and the like themes of the Rob Sand campaign, I do think that he has more to say than I'm tall so far.
Yeah.
Like I don't really like the things that he's saying, but I do think that he's not simply relying on his physical characteristics.
Yeah.
Also, the big beautiful bill is not popular, I don't think, among people polled about it, right? Like that might not be the smartest thing to tie yourself to. Anyway, yeah. Randy, Rob, you got a hell of a competition going between you guys. Really looking forward to it. I can't wait to see who wins.
Yeah.
But
I still think Brenna Bird's still gonna join in the race.
Okay.
I think Brenna Bird's coming. I think she's gonna make him. Wait, what was her thing?
Give him the bird.
She's gonna come and give him the bird. Yep. Make him squeal and give him the bird.
She doesn't have the tall thing. She's not a very tall person, so she can't rely on that.
No,
but Trump
she does have an interesting name.
Trump definitely likes her more than he likes Randy Feenstra, so she can call on that with a lot more authority than Randy can.
Yeah.
Anyway,
kind of wanted to talk about the Kim Reynolds vetoing the eminent domain over the carbon pipelines thing, but we kind of talked about that already and called that she was going to veto it. Yep. And apparently some Republicans are very mad at each other about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fights on the Senate floor have spilled out into, county Republican parties.
Yeah, we don't really have time to get super into that, but they might be calling a special session to try to override the veto, which I think the House might override, but I don't think the Senate would, from what I'm reading. That bill barely passed the Senate in the first place, so I don't think they have the votes to overturn it. Override the veto, I think is the correct terminology.
Yeah. I hope they keep fighting.
Yeah, totally. That's there's a really angry Facebook post from Steve Holt. I love when he's mad. Something that makes him mad. That's really good.
And when he's mad about something that I can agree with him on,
right. Yeah.
Even though he's a fucking disgusting fucking freak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she vetoed that. She vetoed psilocybin medical therapy mushrooms. But she did sign a law requiring schools to show fetal development videos. Calling a fetus, a human life with a soul or whatever. And she also signed a ban on Medicaid covering gender-affirming surgery and hormones. So those are two things definitely we need as state law. But stopping a carbon pipeline from, eminent domain abuse, no. And letting people have mushrooms for, their mental health, no.
Yeah, under the supervision of a doctor.
Right.
It's not even
not even
legalizing mushrooms in any way.
Yeah. So we might come back to the eminent domain thing because that's not over by any means. They're going to keep fighting about that, I think. But for today, we should probably wrap it up. As I mentioned, gender affirming surgery and hormones banned from Medicaid coverage. So if you have money to spare, you should probably go to iowatransmutualaidfund.org and send some of your excess money to them because the state just hates them and is, trying to just eradicate them at all turns. So, they need money. Some of them are going to flee the state, which sucks, but, some you gotta live, right?
Yeah.
So, moving costs, covering medical bills that are now not being covered by Medicaid, all that kind of stuff. Employment discrimination's basically been legalized, housing discrimination. So a lot of vulnerable people who are going to need some assistance. So if you have the means, again, iowatransmutualaidfund.org is where you should go. If you're not busy on this Tuesday, June 17th, I'll be playing a show at Trumpet Blossom. Larry Wish is on tour from Minneapolis. He's on tour. I like his music. I haven't listened to like his most recent stuff, but I remember when I had my office job, I spent like a whole day listening to everything on his Bandcamp, and I really liked it. So that's an endorsement of some kind. I'm playing a solo set, and Samuel Locke Ward also playing a solo set. He's one of the most prolific Iowa City artists ever. He's awesome. And if you listen to the last episode of I Hear I See Radio, I interviewed him, and he's an interesting person in addition to his music. I like him. So you should come to our show on Tuesday at Trumpet Blossom in Iowa City. We're going to start at 8 p.m. I know it's a Tuesday, so for some people but 8? That's kind of early for a Trumpet Blossom show. So hopefully that's a compromise you can live with.
It's not that late.
I know it's not, but some people work early, and I understand.
Yeah. Hope there's a good show out for that.
Me too. It'll be fun. Okay. Call us at 319-849-8733. We've been receiving a steady stream of calls recently. I put up new posters downtown. I think people are seeing them and they feel inspired. So we'll try to do a call us soon to hear what people have been saying. The number is 319-849-8733. You can call us and leave a voicemail at any time. And your message may appear on a future episode of Rock Hard Call Us, which you can listen to at patreon.com/rockhardcaucus. In addition to Speed Freak Read Speak, where Tony and I read Sonic comic books. There was a new episode of that last week, and we got something big coming this week.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to record the first episode of a new Dobrain Book Club series. The book is over my shoulder over here. The book is called Hardwired. I've read the first bit of it. Our friend Eden will be joining us to discuss the first section of Hardwired by Joseph Dobrian, the late Joseph Dobrian. This is our first posthumous Dobrain Book Club. Mm-hmm. Evan, have you read any of it, or are you just going to be along for the ride?
I'm going to be along for the ride. I don't know. As much as I would love to read a Joseph Dobrian book, I think the fact that you and Eden have both read it, or at least the section that we're talking about, I think that's going to be enough.
Yeah,
I do have a PDF copy of it, so I can kind of react, in a fresh manner.
I think all previous Dobrain book clubs, I was the only one reading it.
Yeah,
so
I have not read any. Yeah. I mean, I've read pieces. Actually, wait, I read the essays.
Oh yeah,
the essays that we talked about on that episode. But that was a little easier because it wasn't like a whole
short form book. Yeah.
This is a pretty long book too, isn't it?
400, I think, around 400 pages.
Yeah. 400 pages of Dobrian. I mean,
it's shorter than Willie Wilden. So, this book is a prequel to Ambitions, which is the last book we covered in Dobrian Book Club. So, if you want to catch up before we get there, go to patreon.com/rockhardcaucus. All the audio is just behind a $1 paywall. So it's not a great barrier to entry. So if you're interested, go check it out. Now, we're going to close with some music. I like to feature local musicians on the show as often as possible. If you go to rockhardcock.us, there's a link to submit your music there. This time, we're going extremely local. I have a new song that I recorded yesterday that I'm going to put at the end of this episode. And I plan on playing it live on Tuesday. That's why I'm playing it here at the end of the show now. This is a new song I wrote called Immortality. It's very short. So let me know. I was thinking about maybe I should try to write another verse. This song is less than a minute long, which, I'm okay with that. But is there more? Could I come up with more to say about this? So if you listen to it, you think it's too short, let me know, and I'll try to come up with more. But if you think it's fine the way it is, let me know about that too. But here's Immortality, my new song. Come to Trumpet Blossom on Tuesday. You'll hear me play it live. All right. Are we good? Enough plugs?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Good podcast.
All right. Good podcast, Evan. We'll see you all later. Bye.
Bye.
They
say we all die someday, but that's a lie. If you try hard enough, you'll never die. If you eat the right foods and you exercise,